Your last name is not just a label on a passport. If it's Scottish, it's a clan badge that's been passed down through fire, betrayal, and wars that reshaped Britain. For centuries, Scottish clans were not families, they were armies. They controlled entire regions, raised thousands of warriors, and made alliances that could topple kings. The English called them savages. The crown feared them, and if you carry one of these 10 surnames, your ancestors were at the center of it all. They held castles. They commanded loyalty that crossed bloodlines. They fought battles where the wrong decision meant your entire clan was erased from history. Today, those clan names survive in millions of people who have no idea what power their blood once wielded. Today, we're decoding 10 Scottish surnames, from number 10 down to number 1. The clan whose rivalry with another is so deep that geneticists can still trace the hatred in your DNA. This is not a history lesson. This is about you. If your surname appears on this list, or if someone in your family carries one of these names, you are the living heir to a legacy of power that most people cannot imagine. We'll move through alliances that shaped kings, betrayals that ended in massacres, and one name that still makes Highlanders pause when they hear it spoken aloud. And at the end, I'll give you the key to researching your own clan, because if your name didn't make this list, it doesn't mean your ancestors weren't just as powerful. Let's begin. Number 10, Sinclair. The name comes from the Norman French Saint Clair, meaning holy light. The Saint Clairs were not originally Scottish. They arrived from Normandy in the 11th century, but within 2 generations they had claimed one of the most strategic territories in Scotland, Caithness, at the northern tip of the mainland. In 1446, William Sinclair, the 3rd Earl of Orkney, began construction of Rosslyn Chapel, a building so filled with secret carvings that conspiracy theorists still argue about what the family was hiding. The Sinclairs commanded the Northern Isles for centuries, and anyone who tried to take Caithness from them learned quickly that Norman bloodlines do not yield easily. If your last name is Sinclair, or if it runs in your family, your ancestors were the keepers of the far north, a bloodline that held land the crown could barely reach. But the next surname controlled something even more dangerous, the gateway between the Highlands and the Lowlands. Number 9, Murray. The name comes from the region of Moray in northeastern Scotland. Moray itself means settlement by the sea. The Murrays became one of the most powerful families in medieval Scotland, and their castle at Blair Athol sat at the mouth of the only pass through the Grampian Mountains. Control the pass, control the north. In 1745, the Murrays declared for the Jacobites, and Bonnie Prince Charlie himself stayed at Blair Castle before marching south to reclaim the throne. Anyone who carries the name Murray descends from a family that stood between 2 worlds and chose rebellion over survival. Number 8, Grant. The name likely comes from the Norman French grand, meaning large or great, though some historians argue it derives from the Gaelic granda, meaning ugly. Either way, the Grants controlled Strathspey, one of the richest valleys in the Highlands, and their wealth came from timber. In 1690, Clan Grant raised 800 men to fight for William of Orange. A century later, they raised another 1,000 for the government during the Jacobite risings. The Grants were pragmatists. They knew when to fight and when to negotiate. That skill kept their lands intact when other clans lost everything. Your family, if it bears the name Grant, inherited the wisdom to survive when others chose martyrdom. And number 7 knew that survival sometimes meant holding an island fortress that no enemy could reach. Number 7, MacLeod. The name means son of Leod, and Leod himself was a Norse Gaelic chief who ruled from the Isle of Skye in the 13th century. The MacLeods held Dunvegan Castle, the oldest continuously inhabited castle in Scotland, for over 800 years. In 1542, the MacLeods fought the MacDonalds at the Battle of the Spoiling Dyke, a fight so brutal that a stone wall still marks where it ended. The MacLeods were known for one thing above all: they did not retreat. If you attacked Skye, you paid in blood. If MacLeod is your surname, your ancestors were island kings, and they defended their kingdom with a ferocity that terrified the mainland. But the next name belonged to a clan that did not need an island to be untouchable. Number 6, Gordon. The name likely comes from a place in Berwickshire called Gordon, meaning Great Fort. The Gordons rose to power in the northeast, and by the 15th century they controlled Aberdeenshire. In 1562, the 4th Earl of Huntly raised an army against Mary, Queen of Scots. He lost. His body was exhumed, dressed, and propped up in front of the Scottish Parliament so that his corpse could be formally convicted of treason. The Gordons learned from that mistake. A century later, they were back, wealthier and more powerful than before. Those who carry the Gordon name inherit a legacy of resilience. Your family was broken and rebuilt, and came back stronger. Number 5 controlled the borders, the bloodiest frontier in Britain. Number 5, Scot. The name is simple. It means a Scot, and originally referred to Gaelic-speaking people. But the Scots of Buccleuch became the most notorious border reivers, families who raided, rustled cattle, and burned villages on both sides of the English-Scottish border. In 1596, Walter Scott of Buccleuch led 200 men into Carlisle Castle and freed a prisoner from under the nose of the English garrison. The Crown called it an outrage. The borders called it Tuesday. If your surname is Scott, your ancestors lived by their own laws and made kings bend to them. And the next clan turned loyalty into a weapon that shaped the fate of Scotland itself. Number 4, Stuart. The name comes from steward, the officer who managed a noble household. The Stuarts served the kings of Scotland as high stewards for generations, until one of them married a king's daughter and became king himself. In 1371, Robert Stuart became Robert II, the first Stuart king. For 3 centuries after that, every monarch of Scotland was a steward. Mary, Queen of Scots. James VI, who became James I of England. Charles I, who lost his head. The Stuarts did not just fight for power, they were power. And when the crown passed to the House of Hanover, thousands of Highlanders died trying to put a Stuart back on the throne. If Stuart is your name, your blood runs parallel to the crown itself. You are the descendants of kings and the people who died for them. Number 3, wore loyalty like armor and fought every major battle Scotland ever saw. Number 3, Fraser. The name likely comes from the French phrase, meaning strawberry, or de Frasel, a Norman place name. The Frasers arrived in Scotland in the 12th century and quickly seized land in the Highlands. In 1314, at the Battle of Bannockburn, Sir Simon Fraser fought beside Robert the Bruce to drive the English out of Scotland. 3 centuries later, the Frasers rallied for Bonnie Prince Charlie at Culloden and paid for it. After the battle, the Duke of Cumberland ordered Fraser lands burned. Houses, livestock, families. The Frasers rebuilt, but the scars never healed. Your family, if you bear the Fraser name, survived genocide disguised as law, and the clan at number 2 turned survival into an empire. Number 2, MacDonald. The name means son of Donald, and Donald himself was a Gaelic lord who ruled the Hebrides in the 12th century. By the 14th century, the MacDonalds called themselves the Lords of the Isles, a semi-independent kingdom that stretched from the Isle of Man to the northern tip of Scotland. The MacDonalds commanded fleets, made treaties with England, and treated the Scottish crown as an inconvenience. In 1493, King James IV finally stripped them of their title. The MacDonalds never forgave, and in 1692, they paid for that defiance at Glencoe. If MacDonald is your surname, your ancestors ruled their own kingdom, and when the crown took it from them, they never bowed. But before we get to number 1, the clan whose rivalry with the MacDonalds became the bloodiest in British history, I want to tell you this. If discovering what your surname hides fascinates you, subscribe. Every week we decode the surnames of a new region. And now, number 1. Number 1, Campbell. The name comes from the Gaelic Campbell, cam meaning crooked, bell meaning mouth, literally, crooked mouth. The Campbells of Argyll were the most powerful clan in the Western Highlands, and they achieved that power by doing what other clans refused to do. They allied with the crown. While other Highlanders fought for independence, the Campbells fought for the government. In return, they were given land, titles, and immunity. In 1692, 38 members of the MacDonald clan were murdered in their beds at Glencoe by soldiers under Campbell command. The soldiers had lived as guests in MacDonald homes for 12 days before the killing began. The law of Highland hospitality was sacred. The Campbells broke it, and the Highlands have not forgiven them. In 2022, genetic researchers at the University of Edinburgh published a study on Highland clan ancestry. They traced Y chromosome markers in people with MacDonald and Campbell surnames across Scotland, Canada, and the United States. The results showed something extraordinary. Modern MacDonalds and Campbells still cluster into distinct genetic groups, meaning the feud was so deep that intermarriage between the clans essentially stopped. The hatred is not just in the history books. It is in your DNA. If your last name is Campbell, you carry the bloodline of the most feared and most hated clan in Scottish history. Your ancestors chose power over honor. They survived by bending when others broke. And because of that, the name endures. But here's the truth about the Campbells that no one tells. They did not just survive, they built an empire. While other clans lost their land after Culloden, the Campbells expanded. They became dukes, earls, governors. They controlled banks, regiments, trade routes. The 8th Duke of Argyll was one of the wealthiest men in the British Empire. When Queen Victoria visited Scotland, she stayed at Inverary Castle, the Campbell seat. The Campbells understood something the other clans did not. Power is not about honor. It is about survival. And if you have to break the rules to survive, you break them. That pragmatism made them hated. It also made them unstoppable. Today, there are over 150,000 people named Campbell in the world. If you are a Campbell, you are the heir to a strategy that worked. Your ancestors traded reputation for power, and they won. Other clans cursed the name, but the Campbells survived when those clans did not. That is not a story about honor. It is a story about winning. And whether the Highlands forgive or not, the bloodline endures. Every surname carries a strategy. The MacDonalds fought for independence and lost their kingdom. The Stuarts fought for a crown and lost their heads. The Campbells fought for survival and built an empire. Your last name is not just a name. It is the record of a decision your ancestors made centuries ago, and you are living proof that it worked. Your surname is not just the label on your passport. It is the fingerprint of decisions, wars, loves, and betrayals made by people you never met, but who made you. The Campbells chose power. The MacDonalds chose defiance. The Frasers chose loyalty. The Stuarts chose a crown. And every one of those choices cost blood. Some clans survived by bending. Others survived by breaking. But they all survived because someone, somewhere in your bloodline, refused to disappear. If your surname appeared on this list, you now know what it cost to carry it. And if it did not, that does not mean your ancestors were any less powerful. It means their story is still waiting to be told. Drop your surname in the comments, and I will tell you which clan your blood connects you to. If your name is Scottish, you are the living heir to a legacy of power that shaped a nation. If it is not, your story is just as powerful, and it is waiting for you to uncover it. Every bloodline has a secret. Every surname hides a war, a migration, a betrayal, or a crown. The only question is whether you are ready to know what yours hides. Your ancestors survived so you could exist. Now it is your turn to remember them.